Picture this. The red light on Joe Rogan's camera is burning. The studio is quiet, and the most powerful voice in podcasting leans forward like he's about to confess to a murder. He doesn't smile. He doesn't blink. He just says it, low and deadly serious. People have no idea what's really going on with Erika and Charlie's family. I've heard things from insiders that would make your blood run cold. The guest across from him, face blurred, identity protected, just nods like a man who's seen ghosts. Dead. Silence. Even the sound guy freezes mid-sip of his energy drink. Cut to the clip hitting Twitter at 9:17 p.m. Pacific. Within 6 minutes, the counter is spinning so fast it looks broken. Within 30 minutes, hashtag Rogan exposes Kirk is the #1 trending topic in the United States, and hashtag Erika and the parents is right behind it like a shadow that won't stop following her. Phones start blowing up in living rooms from Brownsville to Brooklyn. Moms forward the clip to group chats with 17 screaming emojis. College kids who never cared about conservative drama suddenly text their friends, "Yo, Charlie Kirk's widow is out here moving like a Black Mirror villain." And the quote that stops every scroll dead? Rogan again, voice gravel and gasoline. Charlie's parents know things about Erika, and she's doing everything in her power to make sure the world never hears their side. Boom. The timeline explodes. Progressive pages, immigrant advocacy accounts, LGBTQ creators, first-gen kids who grew up watching their own parents get erased from family stories. Everybody feels this one in their chest. Because we know what it looks like when the person who smiles for the cameras quietly deletes the people who raise a hero. We've seen it in our whole lives. And tonight, Joe Rogan, of all people, just handed a megaphone to two grieving parents who've been locked out of their own son's legacy. The room didn't just go quiet in that Austin studio. The entire internet held its breath. Because if Rogan is willing to burn this bridge, something evil this way comes. And we're all about to watch it crawl out of the shadows. Listen closely, because this isn't about left versus right anymore. This is about the oldest story in America. The people who sacrifice everything to build something beautiful, only to watch a polished stranger walk in and claim the deed. Charlie Kirk didn't rise alone. He rose on the backs of two exhausted, working-class parents who believed their son could change the world. They remortgaged their house in Chicago, suburbs, cash and retirement savings, drove him to every campus beach in a beat-up minivan while Erika was still posting sorority pictures and building her personal brand. And when Charlie's star exploded, when the private jets replaced the minivan and the donor dinners, replaced the kitchen table, those same parents took a proud step back. They never asked for credit. They just wanted to stay close to the boy they raised. Then Erika entered the frame. Perfectly highlighted hair, perfect conservative daughter-in-law smile, perfect. Instinct for the spotlight. Suddenly every photo had her in the middle. Suddenly every donor call went through her. Suddenly Charlie's mom, the woman, who once picked out his debate ties, couldn't even get past security at events. She used to help organize. And when Charlie died way too young, the empire he left behind wasn't just money and influence. It was a living, breathing movement built on the idea that outsiders, kids from regular families, could still matter in this country. That dream was supposed to belong to everyone who believed in it. Instead, overnight, it belonged to one woman. Erika didn't just inherit a grieving widow status. She inherited the keys, the passwords, the donor lists, the trademark on Charlie's name itself. Within weeks, the foundation website scrubbed old photos of his parents. Within months, the memorial events didn't have seats saved for the people who gave him life. This isn't gossip. This is a hostile takeover dressed in black lace and Bible verses. Because if Erika can erase the two human beings who loved Charlie first and loved him longest, if she can lock them out of their own son's legacy without a single public explanation, then what chance do the rest of us have? The immigrants who built businesses from nothing? The first-gen kids fighting to keep their parents' sacrifices in the story? The queer creators, the brown and black voices who already get written out of history the minute we're no longer useful? Tonight the mask is slipping. And what we're seeing underneath isn't grief. It's the coldest kind of power. Grab most of us will ever witness. Two elderly parents, still wearing the same modest clothes they wore to Charlie's first rally, are sitting in a quiet house somewhere in Illinois holding evidence that could burn the whole fairy tale to the ground. And the woman who smiles in every perfectly filtered morning post is doing everything she can to make sure those files never see daylight. This isn't just their war anymore. It's ours. Because if a mother and father can be erased this cleanly, this cruelly, then every one of us is next in line. And the scariest part? They're finally ready to fight back. And what they're about to reveal will make Erika wish she'd never touched that empire in the first place. Let's go back to the moment the temperature in the room changed. It was 2018, a private donor retreat in Dallas. Charlie's parents were still the unofficial mom and pop of the movement, handing out bottled water, hugging college kids like they were their own. Then the side door opened and Erika walked in slow motion, hair flip, designer dress that somehow looked modest and expensive at the same time. Charlie's eyes lit up the way a boy's do when he thinks he just met the future. His mother smiled politely. His father shook Erika's hand a beat too long, like he was trying to read the fine print on her soul. From that night on, the math was brutal and simple. Every inch Erika moved forward, Charlie's parents were nudged back, one polite, perfectly deniable inch at a time. First, it was the seating. Charts. Mom used to sit front row at every Turning Point summit. Suddenly she was row 7, then row 12, then we're so sorry, Mrs. Kirk, the fire. Marshall limited family tickets this year. Next came the photos. Old website banners with a whole Kirk clan gone, replaced by sleek shots of Charlie and Erika looking like the youngest power couple in Washington. When Charlie's mom asked why her favorite picture of the three of them at his first rally disappeared, the social media manager shrugged. Erika felt the branding needed to feel more aspirational. Then the money conversation started happening in rooms his parents were no longer invited to. Insiders remember the exact dinner, some steakhouse in Phoenix, 2020. Charlie's dad pulled him aside. Son, these new donor contracts, they route everything through a trust Erika controls. That doesn't feel right. Charlie, exhausted, trying to keep peace, said, Dad, she's protecting us. She's protecting the mission. But his father saw something Charlie refused to. The word us no longer included the people who taught him how to tie a tie. By 2022, the erasure was surgical. Charlie's parents stopped getting invites to the Christmas gala they used to co-host. Their names vanished from the foundation's Our Story page. One former staffer swears she overheard Erika on a hot mic after a board meeting. We can't build a billion-dollar brand with Midwest church basement energy. It's time to professionalize the family image. And the cruelty wasn't loud. That's what made it diabolical. It was quiet, smiling, Bible verse cruel. Erika would post throwback photos on Charlie's birthday. Always just the two of them. Caption, Forever My Rock. Never once tagging the woman who carried him for 9 months. She'd send flowers to the parents on the anniversary of Charlie's. Death, lilies, always lilies, with a card that read, Thinking of you in this difficult season. As if they were distant acquaintances instead of the grandparents who would never hold the grandchildren that now might never come. The leaked email that finally tore the mask off came from Erika's own account, March 2024, 2 months after. Charlie was gone. Subject line, estate transition urgent to the family lawyer she personally hired. The line everyone screenshots in horror. We cannot let them dictate anything anymore. Their involvement risks undoing everything Charlie and I built. Please prepare paperwork to remove any remaining access. Immediately, not my in-laws, not Charlie's mom and dad, them, like they were a hostile board faction, not the 2 human beings who sold their home so their son could rent his first office. That email didn't leak by accident. Someone inside the empire, someone who watched a mother get escorted out of her own son's private memorial by security because Erika's team claimed she looked too emotional for the live stream. Hit send. And when the parents quietly asked for a meeting to discuss the foundation's future, Erika's response came through the lawyer. Mrs. Kirk is welcome to submit any concerns in writing. In writing. To the woman who used to rock Charlie to sleep when he had nightmares. This is what power without love looks like, darlings. It smiles to the cameras while it changes the locks on. The family home. Erika didn't just marry into a movement. She colonized it. And the original architects, the ones with calluses and gray hair and hearts that still break every time they hear their sons' voice in an old video, were left standing outside in the cold. But here's the part that should make every single one of us feel fire in our chests. Those parents never stopped gathering evidence. Every deleted photo, every closed-door meeting, every accidental oversight, they documented it all. Because even when your own child can't protect you anymore, a mother's love turns into something fierce and unstoppable. And what Erika never understood is that you don't get to erase the people who taught a lion how to roar, then act surprised when the jungle finally roars back. Meet Linda and Ron Kirk, two of the most quietly heroic people you will never see on a private jet. Linda was the daughter of a Korean immigrant mother who cleaned offices at night so her kids could go to college. Ron grew up in a Polish-Irish neighborhood on Chicago's South Side where the factory closed the year he graduated high school. They met at a community college accounting class, married young, worked 2 jobs each, and still found time to volunteer at their church youth group because they believed every kid deserved someone who showed up when Charlie came home from his first Young Americans for Freedom meeting on fire about ideas. Linda didn't roll her eyes. She sat at the kitchen table until 2 a.m. helping him design his first flyer on a 10-year-old Dell. Ron drove him to that first campus event in a minivan with 180,000 miles and a busted air conditioner because if my boy believes in something this much, I'm getting him there. They never asked for applause. They just kept showing up when Charlie needed seed money. For Turning Point USA, Ron took a second mortgage without telling Linda until the papers were signed. Linda picked up extra shifts at the hospital, telling her co-workers it was for a family project. They poured $87,000 of their own money into an idea most people laughed at. When the first big donor dinner happened, Linda ironed Charlie's only suitor self and stood in the back of the room beaming like every other parent who ever watched their child take the stage. Home videos still exist. You can find them if you dig past the ones Erika's team never managed to scrub. Ron tearing up the first time Charlie got a standing ovation. Linda hugging college kids who told her, "Your son just changed my life." They weren't building a brand. They were raising a movement the way immigrant parents raised children, with everything they had, and nothing held back nothing for themselves. And for years it worked. The 3 of them against the world. Mom, Dad, and their fearless boy. Then the boy brought home a woman who looked at their kitchen table and saw outdated furniture. The shift was slow, almost gentle at first. Compliments that carried tiny barbs. "You've done so much already. Linda, maybe it's time to rest." Helpful suggestions that somehow always ended with the parents in the hallway. Ron once joked a friend, "I feel like we're becoming the before picture in Erika's makeover show." But they swallowed it. For Charlie, always for Charlie. When his health started slipping, when the weight loss and the hospital visits began, Linda moved into the guest room to cook bone broth and read psalms aloud the way she did when he had chicken pox at 7. Erika thanked her, then gently explained that the medical team preferred fewer visitors to keep the cameras rolling. Ron drove 8 hours to sit in a waiting room. He was eventually asked to leave because Charlie needs calm. They weren't at his bedside when he took his last breath. They found out from a text. The funeral was a final. Knife. Linda reached for the casket to fix Charlie's tie one last mother's. Touch, and a staffer intercepted her hand. Mrs. Kirk, we're keeping it closed. For the live stream, Ron stood in the receiving line and watched strangers heed. Never met cry harder than he was allowed to. 2 weeks later, the lock's on. The foundation offices were changed. Their key cards deactivated. Their emails bounced. The voicemail on Charlie's old direct line, the one that still had his voice saying, "Hey, it's Charlie, leave a message," disappeared overnight. They went from co-founders to ghosts in their own story. But here's what Erika never counted on. Linda and Ron are the children of people who learned young that when the world tries to erase you, you document everything. Every ignored call logged. Every deleted photo saved. Every donor who whispered, "I'm so sorry, they won't. Let me put you on the guest list anymore." Every legal letter that arrived with Erika's signature at the bottom, they built a quiet archive in. The same spare bedroom where Charlie once practiced speeches in front of a mirror, manila folders, USB drives, handwritten notes in Linda's neat nurse. Handwriting, March 14th, asked to see financials, told not your concern anymore. And on the hardest nights, when the house felt too empty, Ron would sit at that same kitchen table and play old voicemails from Charlie just to hear his laugh. One night, he found a voice memo Charlie never sent, time-stamped 3 weeks before he died. "Mom, Dad, if you're listening to this, something went wrong. Just know I love you, and whatever happens, protect what we started. The real thing, not the shiny version." They played it once. Then they cried until dawn. Then Linda labeled the file insurance and locked it in the fireproof safe with everything else. Because love, real love, the kind that remortgages houses and drives through blizzards and stays quiet for years, doesn't stay quiet forever. It waits. It gathers. It becomes evidence. And right now, in a modest house with a faded turning point flag still in the front window, two elderly parents who have already buried their only child are getting ready to bury a lie. They're not doing it for revenge. They're doing it for every immigrant parent who ever watched their sacrifice get repackaged and resold without their name on it. For every first-gen kid told, "We're a family," until the money showed up. For every brown and black mothers who smiled through every erasure because speaking up might cost their child everything. Linda and Ron Kirk are about to remind the world that the people who build empires with love don't need spotlights to burn them down. They just need the truth. And the truth, darling, is coming. It started with a single screenshot sliding into a group chat at 2:14 a.m. Just 8 words in Erika's unmistakable font. We can't let them dictate anything anymore. By sunrise, the screenshot was everywhere. Progressive pages posted it next to photos of immigrant mothers. "Hold and my child is not your prop" signs. First-gen kids stitch it over. Videos of their own parents being pushed out of graduation photos by richer, whiter step-parents. The caption wrote itself. Same story, different zip code. Then came the audio nobody was ready for. A 37-second Reddit clip titled, "Charlie's Mom Breaks." You hear an older woman, voice raw from crying, telling someone on the phone. She's rewriting everything. She took his name, his money, his story, and now she's taking us out of the pictures like we were never there. Charlie wouldn't want this. We have things she doesn't want anyone to see. If they come out, the call cuts off. The internet did not. Within hours, the clip was stitched, slowed, reversed, analyzed like the Zapruder film. And then at 11:03 p.m. Eastern, the call that turned suspicion into certainty dropped. A crystal clear recording. Female voice cold as a mausoleum. "You will not go public with any of it. You think people will believe 2 bitter old people over me? I own this narrative now. If you speak, I will destroy everything you have left. Your reputations, your friends, the little that's left of Charlie's memory that still belongs to you. Try me. Silence on the line. Then A. Man, Ron, you can hear the tremor. You're threatening a mother and father who just buried their son. The woman laughs, actually laughs. I'm protecting what he built. Stay in your lane. The call ends with a click that sounded like a gunshot across the internet. Hashtag destroy everything trended for 41 straight hours. TikTok creators, especially Latina and Desi, daughters, reenacted the call in their childhood bedrooms, translating it into Spanish and Urdu and Tagalog, so their own mothers could understand exactly how universal this pain is. Comments flooded in, my stepdad said the same thing when he took my mom's house. This is why we don't let newcomers run our legacies. Joe Rogan, credit where it's due, went live the next night and refused to back down. He played a snippet of the call, let it hang in the air, then looked straight into camera. This isn't conspiracy. This is happening in real time. That woman just threatened to erase 2 parents completely, and she's still posting Bible verses like nothing happened. Conservative influencers tried to call it a deepfake. Audio experts, including ones who usually work for progressive outlets, confirmed within hours. No cuts, no edits, voice match. 98.7%. Erika posted a black square with the caption, pray for peace. The comments became a war zone. Thousands of broken heart emojis from people who once admired her, now replaced by one single question repeated like a drumbeat. Where are Charlie's parents? Because that's when the world realized they hadn't been seen in public since the funeral. No statements. No photos. No grief posts. Just silence. And silence when you're a mother who lost her only child is the loudest scream there is. The leaks weren't random anymore. They were deliberate. Someone inside the machine had chosen blood over brand, and every new file that slid into the light felt like another brick removed from the perfect wall Erika built around Charlie's legacy. But the parents weren't done. Not even close. They had saved the biggest bomb for last, and they were finally ready to light the fuse. Friday night, 10:47 p.m. Central. A shaky phone camera lights up a living room that still has the same floral couch from 1998. Linda and Ron Kirk sit side by side, looking 20 years older than the last public photo anyone can find of them. No makeup team, no ring light, just 2 parents who have nothing left to lose. Ron clears his throat, holds up a plain black USB drive between trembling fingers, and says the sentence that will be replayed 1 billion times before the weekend is over. This is what she fears most. Everything Charlie wanted the world to know if something ever happened to him is on this drive. Emails, bank records, voice notes he sent us when he started. Realizing what was happening, we stayed quiet out of love. Tonight we speak. Out of love, too. Linda leans in, eyes shining, with tears and steel. We are not asking for money. We are not asking for fame. We are asking for our son back. The real Charlie, not the brand. Not the version being sold on coffee mugs and donor cruises. The boy who used to fall asleep on this very couch dreaming about a country that would listen to kids like him. The video is only 90 seconds long, but in those 90 seconds, the entire internet feels something. Shift. Ron ends it with a whisper quiet fury. If this video disappears, you'll know why. If we disappear, you'll know why. Look at Erika. She knows exactly what's on this drive. He presses stop. The original upload hits a small Facebook page with 3,000 followers. By 11:09, it's mirrored on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, Rumble, every corner of the web at once. By 11:27, every major platform has removed it. YouTube violates community guidelines on targeted harassment. Instagram, sensitive content. TikTok, straight up gone. No explanation. That's when the Streisand effect kicked in like a nuclear strike. Mirror links explode. Hashtag Kirk USB. Trends worldwide within 20 minutes. Latinx creators translate the parents. Words into Spanish and caption it, Cuando la suegra blanca te borra después del funeral. Black creators stitch it with their own stories of stepmothers. Freezing out blood family. Immigrant kids from Tehran to Tegucigalpa flood the comments. This is why we send money home. So nobody can ever say we didn't. Build it. At 1:12 a.m., the first voice note leaks. Charlie's voice, unmistakable, a little hoarse, time-stamped 3 weeks before he died. Mom, Dad, I need you to save this. I'm starting to see things I didn't want to see. The money moving places I didn't approve. Decisions being made in my name on them, but not my signature. If anything happens to me, if I can't speak for myself anymore, promise me you'll protect what we started. The mission, not the machine. I love you guys. I'm sorry I didn't listen sooner. The internet doesn't just cry. It roars. South Asian daughters who've been told you're too emotional by white step-parents post video sobbing in their cars. Mexican-American sons who lost family land to a new spouse's lawyer. Tattoo the date of the USB. Video on their arms. Queer kids disowned and then reclaimed only after death recognize a pattern and scream into their phones. This is why we write everything down. Joe Rogan goes live at 2 o'clock. A.M., hair wild, eyes blazing. They just tried to bury a mother and father holding their dead son's last words. Good luck with that. By dawn, the video has 47 million views across mirror sites. Lawyers for the Kirk Foundation send frantic cease and desist letters to teenagers in Ohio who re-uploaded it. Every letter gets screenshot and ratioed into oblivion. Then the second voice note drops, quieter, more devastating. Charlie again, barely above a whisper. I think she's planning something with the estate docs. Tell people the truth if. I'm not here to do it. Tell them I was proud to be your son. That's the only legacy that matters. Progressive creators who never cared about Charlie Kirk before now flood the timeline with the same message. Blood is not a brand. Love is not a trademark. Parents are not disposable ones. The optics change. Erika finally breaks her silence at 6:03 a.m. with a single Instagram story. A black screen and the words, grief looks different for everyone. The comments are disabled. The ratio is still 400,000 broken hearts to 9 praying hands. But the USB is out there now. Copies in hundreds of thousands of downloads. Encrypted torrents. Kids burning it onto actual CDs and mailing them to friends like it's 2003. And in living rooms across the country, immigrant mothers who once felt invisible watch Linda Kirk hold up that little black drive and see themselves. First-gen daughters who've been told, let it go, watch Ron's shaking hand and feel seen for first time. Every erased parent, every silent survivor, every kid who ever watched their family story get rewritten by someone prettier and louder, they all understand. Tonight, the parents didn't just fight back. They handed every single one of us the weapon. Because when a mother and father are willing to risk everything to give their dead son his voice back, the least we can do is make sure the whole world hears it. And darling, we are only getting started. The empire just cracked wide open, and the reckoning is coming. Faster than any lawyer can bill for. Section 7, Aftermath Shockwaves. The empire fractures in real time, 780 words. The morning after the USB. Video. America woke up and chose sides like it was a national referendum on who gets to own a dead man story. Twitter became a war map. Hashtag Justice for the Kirk shot to #1 worldwide and stayed there for 72 hours straight, held up by an army of first-gen kids, immigrant moms in hijabs, and sorries, queer Latina creators, and every brown daughter who ever watched a white widow smile her way into the family photos. The top tweet, 2.1 million. Likes, a side-by-side of Linda Kirk crying on that floral couch next to Erika's. Latest filter morning selfie. Caption, one of these women is grieving. The other is performing. TikTok turned the scandal into a global support group. A Mexican-American creator with 6 million followers stitched Charlie's unsent voice note over footage of her own abuela clutching a photo of her late husband and captioned it, "Para todas las mamas que nos quieren bor después del funeral." 10 million views in 6 hours. A Nigerian British queen stitched the same audio with her mother's funeral program that mysteriously left her name off the obituary. This one's for us, the original. Builders. Even celebrities who usually stay in their lane couldn't resist. Cardi B posted the USB clip to her story with the caption, "When the stepmom energy goes too far." John Leguizamo tweeted, a photo of his own immigrant parents. "My mom and dad crossed oceans for me. If anybody tried to erase them after I burned the whole kingdom down, respect to the Kirks." Lizzo went live crying, "Y'all, this is why we protect our elders, period." The conservative movement itself began to crack like cheap plaster. Old guard donors who once wrote 7-figure checks started asking quiet questions about offshore accounts. Campus chapters posted statements. "We stand with Charlie's parents, the real founders." One major youth conference scheduled to feature Erika as keynote suddenly announced a scheduling conflict. Translation, nobody wanted to share a stage with a woman who allegedly threatened grieving seniors. Late night hosts smell blood. Trevor Noah opened with, "Erika Kirk said I own this narrative now." "Honey, the ancestors just filed a copyright claim." Zio posted a mock interview. "So, Erika, when did you decide the parents who raised them were just unpaid?" Interns. The petition Let Linda and Ron Kirk Speak hit one of those change.org things nobody ever thinks will work. Hit 1 million signatures in 41 hours, driven by people who had never voted Republican in their lives, but recognized the universal sting of being erased by someone who showed up late to the struggle. Mainstream outlets that usually ignore right-wing drama couldn't look away. The New York Times ran a front page. Photo of the empty chairs at a Turning Point gala where the Kirks' names used to be engraved. Headline, "A movement mourns its missing parents." And then the money started moving, or rather stopped. 3 7-figure pledges reportedly pulled. 1. Donor dinner in Dallas canceled out of respect for family, which everyone understood to mean we don't want to be on the wrong side of the tsunami. Erika tried one last image. Rehab, a tearful sit-down with a friendly blonde anchor who spent 20 minutes letting her talk about complicated grief. The clip got 400K views and 1.8 million dislikes before it was quietly unlisted. Meanwhile, Mirror Site's hosting. The USB files hit 200 million downloads. Kids were literally mailing physical thumb drives to their immigrant parents with sticky notes that read, "In case anything ever happens to me, play this." Joe Rogan, now fully team. Parents ended his next episode staring dead into camera. "I started this fire with one match. Y'all just turned it into a wildfire. And wildfires don't negotiate." By the end of the week, the empire that once looked bulletproof was hemorrhaging staff, sponsors, and moral credibility. Everything except the one thing could never buy back. Trust. The woman who thought she could trademark a dead boy's dream was learning the hardest lesson in America. You can rewrite the website. You can delete the photos. You can even silence the microphones. But you cannot silence a mother and father who still have their child's last words in their pocket. And those words are spreading faster than any PR team can spin. The reckoning isn't coming. It's already here. And it's wearing the face of every erased elder we've ever loved. And now the dust settles. But the smoke still carries the shape of truth. Erika Kirk, the woman who once posed on red carpets with the perfect widow glow, hasn't been seen in public for 9 days. Her Instagram is frozen on a black and white photo of clasped hand and the caption, "Pray for peace." The comments remain disabled, but the quotes keep pouring in anyway, millions of them from daughters in Manila, sons. In Nairobi, mothers in Mexico City, all saying the same thing in 100 languages. Peace without justice is just another word for control. Because this story was never really about left or right. It was about who gets to tell the story of a life once the person living it is gone. It was about every immigrant parent who crossed the border, worked 3 jobs, and still sent money home, only to watch someone smoother, louder, whiter step in and claim the victory lap. It was about every first-gen kid who swallowed the rage when their sacrifices were rebranded as inspiration porn by people who never missed a meal. Linda and Ron Kirk didn't win a court case. They didn't need to. They won something bigger. They reminded the world that love leaves fingerprints no lawyer can scrub off. Charlie's real voice, the one trembling in those unsent memos, is now the most downloaded audio file in America. College kids play it at vigils. Abuelas play it in kitchens while making tamales and crying quiet tears of recognition. Drag queens lip sync it in clubs as an act of resistance. It has become a hymn for everyone who has ever been told, stay in your lane after building the entire highway. And in the end, the empire didn't collapse because of lawsuits or donor defections, though those came. It collapsed because a mother and father refused to let their son's name be rented out to the highest bidder. This is the moment we all needed to see the polished villain unmasked, the quiet hero still standing, the reminder that the people who love you before you're famous are the only ones who truly own your story when you're gone. So let this be the moral carved into every timeline, every family chat, every heart that's ever been erased. Your parents' accents, your abuela's recipes, your father's callous hands, your mother's prayers, and language the new spouse can't pronounce. Those are not liabilities to be hidden for better branding. They are the foundation, and foundations don't negotiate with wrecking balls. Linda Kirk said it best in the last interview she'll probably ever give, sitting on that same floral couch, holding Ron's hand. We didn't do this to destroy anything. We did it to remember everything. And if remembering costs us the little we have left, it's still cheaper than forgetting who we really are. That beautiful people is the sound of dignity winning. Not with screaming, not with lawyers, not with press releases. Just 2 elderly parents, a $8 USB drive, and the kind of love that outlives death, money, and perfectly filtered grief. So the next time someone tries to crop your people out of the picture, the next time they tell you we're modernizing the family image, remember Linda and Ron Kirk holding up that little black drive like it was Excalibur. Remember that silence can be a weapon, but truth is always louder. And remember that no matter how big the empire gets, it still belongs to the ones who built it with nothing but faith and overtime shifts. The parents won, love won, and every single one of us who has ever been told we don't belong in our own story just got the receipt that says we do forever. Look at me, right now, camera in your face, heart still pounding from everything we just lived through together. This story isn't over just because the credits want to roll. It's only over if we let it die in the feed. Erika Kirk is somewhere tonight, staring at a black screen, knowing the silence isn't protection anymore. It's a confession. Linda and Ron Kirk are probably still sitting on that floral couch, holding each other, wondering if speaking the truth was worth becoming. Strangers in their own son's history. But you and I, we get to decide what happens next. So here's the truth nobody else will say out loud. Every time you share this video, you mail another copy of that USB drive straight to Erika's front door. Every comment you leave is another immigrant mom in Queens, another Desi, daughter in Houston, another black queen in Atlanta whispering, you are not alone. Every like is a brick in the wall we're building around Linda and Ron. So nobody can touch them again. This is no longer their fight. It's ours. Type 1 in the comments if your team parents, blood over brand, forever. Type 2 if you've ever watched someone try to crop your people out of the family photo and felt this rage in your chest. Type 3 if you're ready to protect every elder who ever sacrificed so we could shine. I want to see those numbers. Flood the screen like a revolution. Because when that full USB finally drops, and it will, when Charlie's complete voice notes hit the timeline unfiltered and undeniable, I want you to be able to say you were here. When the match was lit, I want you to tell your kids you stood on the right side of history, the night a mother and father refused to let their son be stolen twice. So smash that like button until it hurts. Share this video to every group chat, every family thread, every cousin who still thinks family first only applies until the money shows up. Tag the creators who need to hear Charlie's real voice. Tag the elders who deserve to know they're not disposable. Turn on notifications, because the next leak could come tonight, tomorrow, next week, and when it does, we will be the megaphone Erika never saw coming. We are the children of immigrants who crossed deserts, oceans, and borders with nothing but a promise. We are the first-gen kids who translated paperwork at 10 years old, so our parents could keep the lights on. We are the queer babies who were told to quiet our accents so the brand could sell better. And tonight we say loud and proud, you do not get to erase us. Not after the funerals. Not after the money hits the account. Not ever. Linda and Ron Kirk just handed every single one of us the torch. Now run with it, because when the full truth finally burns through every last lie, the only people left standing will be the ones who never let go of love in the first place. And darling, that's us. See you in the comments. See you in the shares. See you on the right side of this fight. We're not just watching the fire anymore. We are the fire, and we're just getting warmed up